Okay. And the debate questions on the board: should wealthy nations give monetary aid, that's financial aid, to developing countries without the expectation of repayment? So we'll start with your team. Also in the back, taking the team.
Good morning, my friends. Did you know that Cowboy Stadium in US uses more electricity than Liberia? Our position is that aid to developing countries from wealthy nations doesn't work, but instead it causes more chaos and more poverty in these areas. In fact, over 70% of the population in Africa lives for $1 a day, which is very low compared to the Western standards. Aid destined to help the average African ends up supporting the corrupt leaders to purchase weapons. As a result of that, it increases the conflicts between government and citizens, and it crushes capitalism. Dependence on aid makes development of private sector slower with the overall economic development. Interestingly, Ethiopia is the only country that is most dependent on aid. 90% of the country's budget is foreign aid. Firstly, foreign aid actually increases the risk of stable conflicts because people will take up arms to be in power. Because the winner gets full access to the package of aid given by rich countries. Secondly, countries in Africa have suffered a lot due to the aid and funds from the World Bank that allowed corrupt African dictators to stay in power. Moreover, it is necessary to support the local economy because huge dependence on foreign humanitarian aid destroys the local economy and it's not sustainable in the long run. Wealthy countries should take in consideration the microfinance in rural areas because it increases the development of private sector. Thank you.
If you like, should we move on to your personal life together?
Good morning. If I told you a story about a little kid in an African country that died because of lack of food or lack of water, or even because of an illness generated by poor sanitary conditions, would you be surprised? Probably not. That is just to illustrate how common this problem is and how much people ignore it. By being against providing aid to African countries, you are becoming a part of the group of people that ignore the problem. Our group believes that aid is of big help to developing countries because poverty has been a growing issue in such countries. Poverty has affected them in a way that they can no longer fight the issue on their own and thus require help from developing nations. There is significant evidence of the effectiveness of aid in human development, such as improvements in services, in well-being, in infrastructure, in health, education, and other areas. It is our duty to help those in need in times of emergency. It's not only a human right, but it's also an ethical and moral philosophy. Poverty is an exceptionally relevant issue that people ignore more and more every day. If a country has enough resources to alleviate the pain of developing countries, they should do it. In fact, they should do it without expecting anything in return, without involving any corruption, and without any kind of exploitation. How can you be against providing aid to developing countries if it means making their lives easier? Thank you.
We'll go back to the next argument from this side.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to restate our group's position. Giving monetary aid to developing countries is not working, and it worsens the poverty instead of alleviating it. Giving monetary aid to developing countries causes those countries to be more dependent on rich countries. In addition, the poor countries have neither technology nor information to help to develop them by themselves. In the case of Uganda, the majority of aid was seized by the government instead of given to the citizen who urged for the money. Furthermore, the country was 50% dependent on the wealthy countries. The concept of giving aid is actually similar as communism. The significant reason for communism to fail is that they share everything with one another. Consequently, no one will willing to work, causing the corruption of the whole society. UN reported that 6 million of North Korean children needed food help. If the food aid continues, it will lead to a negative impact on those children, who eventually will start learning how to grow food by themselves, which means that they need more and more help from the UN. If one day the need is not affordable, those children will not be able to survive. Is it called supporting if the poor get less able to survive for aid? Is it called humanitarian if the poor actually get poor for aid? Is it called generous if the aid leads to corruption? Thank you.
Exactly. Can I go back to the other team, next speaker?
Today I'll start with a famous quote by a famous humanitarian called Mother Teresa. We think that sometimes poverty is only being hungry, naked, and homeless, because that's what you guys and us see in the streets, right? But the poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is the greatest poverty. That's what is seen in developing countries. Poverty rate is really high, and the probability of living a sane life in these countries is really low. But not only this, it gets worse when no help from developed countries arrive. This relates to what Mother Teresa said, the poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. How would you guys feel if you were living in an environment like that? If you were between these people, these poor people? What if you guys were these poor families? How would you feel? Wouldn't you feel like you needed aid from these countries, from developed countries? Sharing your fortune with the less fortunate to be introduced to these nations. Rich countries are fortunate enough to have progressed from good resources on their land, like Australia and the United States, for example, made their wealth through their own resources. We can argue that it's the same as being born to a rich family versus being born to a poor family. Rich should help the poor to make their environment a better place to live. When developed countries' economic goes down by percentage, people lose their jobs, possibly their houses, but regain when the economy comes back up. In poor African countries, children get pulled out of schools and miss out on becoming productive adults. I mean that people are all equal, we should all get the same opportunities in life. Don't you agree? And with this developed countries aid, this will be a possibility by getting them improvement in schools and education. Therefore, me and my team, we're 100% in favor of aid from developed countries.
Thanks, Edna. I'll turn it over to the visiting team. I'll give you a few minutes to ask questions, pose questions, and then you guys can respond to those questions. Everyone will have two of these answer sessions, so I'd like everyone to start to participate. So once you've asked the question, try to let someone else know. Okay, go ahead.
Did you say like you can help them for health and lots of developing things? But like the public monetary aid, isn't that a financial thing? Because we against just giving them money, so we didn't think against like giving them to like developing assistance or like microfinance. So it's like, it's just against the money, and it's not like,
But those things you only can get them with the money.
Yeah. They're all including aid.
so
Yes.
we against that just giving money, because they will spend those money on, like, private.
We are in favor of aid in general. So it could
But
be,
how about it's monetary?
Okay, if we give them monetary aid, they don't have they cannot buy medical kits or medicines or food or.
better to give them monetary aid than not give them anything.
We didn't say we like don't give them anything. Give them like development assistance, those kind of things, instead of just giving them money, because they will spend it like already to corruption.
Okay, if you give them the developing assistance, how can they get their kids in school? Money?
Wait,
If you give them the developing assistance, how can they get their kids in school?
education?
Yes, how can they?
Also education help also, like lots of
The
things.
education is
But
involved
not
in
just the
money.
money, because monetary is like just the money.
But okay, but you cannot get someone into school without the money. You cannot get them in with medication.
They can build a school with humanitarian aid by giving them resources such as
Who
food,
might-
coverage.
If there is
What's the connection? When the developed nations, they build this, they want something back. They want something in return. You gotta
They're
acknowledge.
not gonna do it for free.
How are they gonna get
In
money?
return, like the developing country will like rely on those rich countries. It's not called independence after that is free from those rich countries. It's actually like another kind of yeah, because they also after their independence they still need help from rich country and just need more and more help instead of like independent.
So you're against giving them money, but you're not giving them something. Okay. When the government gives them assistance, doesn't the government have to buy this assistance with money?
No, I mean rich country. Not
Yeah, rich countries, they have to buy it. Yeah, they have to buy the assistance.
yeah, but it's not the
So
money.
they're gonna
Because if
spend the
you
money
give the
anyways.
money to the country, like the poor country, they will spend those
But if you give it to the country, the
They
country.
could get this money and build a school, for example. That's the point. That's what we are agreeing.
Or
They
they-
can get monetary aid and then they go and build a school. They go and buy medicine.
Or they can build a farm and people,
Yeah, that's
people
one
will work for
choice.
wages.
Okay, because like some government will do that, but we can't like guarantee.
But there's evidence that monetary
You
aid.
also can guarantee that the developed countries are gonna send the monetary aid you're talking about. How can you guarantee that?
Right?
How can you guarantee that the developed countries are gonna send it also? You can't guarantee anything. What you're saying, that nothing's guaranteed.
I mean like, cause it will be better if you give them assistance instead of just money. Like
Yeah, give more
But
monetary
if you
aid.
give the poor countries money to get back on their feet, so to produce farms, like Summer said, or
why don't we just help them to
Build
because
farms.
to help build farms, you need to get the money.
yeah, sure, but you just not just the money, because if you like rich country have the money and they help them to develop, instead of just give them the money and they spend it somewhere you don't know.
It's gonna end up being more expensive than to send people to the
Yeah.
developing countries to
Because
wait
you
for.
spend lots of money already. What's the
They're not gonna send it anyways.
They're not gonna send it
Because
because they're not gonna do it for free. They give you money, they give you aid, so they can be in front of the world, oh, we give aid to this country, but they're not gonna send people or workers to go build something in their country. It doesn't work like this.
If I could interrupt this, I was going to say the conversation is flowing naturally, so I won't interrupt. But if someone wants to ask a question from this side, I'll give you another couple of minutes to do that. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
I have a question for Jürgen. You said that different countries fight each other since the winner can take all the aid from the developed country. So can you prove that with any reports or statistics?
Yeah, there are statistics you mentioned, but I haven't looked at them specifically. I just read the news article in the Guardian, if you want, I can show you later. But it says that the conflicts, just like overall conflicts in Africa, increase when the aid arrive, and because people
think.
Yes, for the aid.
Where do you get this,
Guardian. Guardian.
is there a reliable source?
Yes.
How do you know?
The news article, in the school, a lot of people use it like in economics. Class we use the Guardian. Guardian is known, internationally known news article.
Okay, guys, should we move on? Thank you. Next question. Let's go on back to the disagreed team. We'll start with the third arguments. Okay, Michelle.
Hello everyone, I'm going to present some data and arguments to support our position, which is that monetary aid is not working. According to CNN, during the past 60 years, more than $1 trillion of financial aid has been put onto the developing country continuously to alleviate the problem of poverty. However, people have seen only small changes across the global, which are assumed to be the result of lack of management in the donation system and the cost of corruption in between the transfer of money. Before the adjustment totals, financial aid would only be the source to enrich the wealthy people and worsen the poor people. In addition to that, by providing financial aid to developing countries, even though it seems like poor people have more money on consuming goods, the fact is that when they use those money on products, the price increases as the demand increases, which in short is the increase in inflation. This has been proven by the data from the World Bank, that the inflation rate in South Africa had increased to 5.6% in the year 2012, and the price had moved up by 5.7%. The final result for that is after people have used all the aid, the product will only be much more harder for them to purchase, and their life will be even bitterer than before. Thank you.
Okay, argument from the agreed team. Right, okay.
Yeah, for one, imagine 18,000 children dies every day because of no food and no water and no medicine. Imagine if no one is going to send aid to the other countries, this number will be much bigger, like 50,000 or maybe more. Aid from rich countries helps poor countries by giving them food, water, medical and education need. And total was spent like $1 trillion. It helped countries a lot. And the economic growth of the countries is 7% a year. That's a pretty good number. I provide basic human requirements like food, water, medical supplies, and education. With this money, developing countries built around 5,006,000 houses from 1994. It's a big number, and a lot of people have home now.
Let's go back to the other team. And then after this argument, we will after this argument, we'll go back to question and answer. Go ahead.
Hello again. You might argue that the number of people who live under
decreases. However, there are many factors that can affect this result, such as microfinance, developing assistance, and education. Therefore, it is hard to determine which factor actually helps alleviate the poverty. It is obvious that the amount of money wealthy countries pay for the poor countries is less than what they should give. That being said, statistically, the money is wasted. Hence, as taxpayers, the citizen in first world country might not be willing to spend their money on the aid. If you set up the first world country or the third world country, then first world country should help them to develop instead of causing them to be more dependent on rich countries. In order to alleviate the poverty, giving them job opportunity, education, or microfinance is a better way instead of monetary aid, so that those countries can develop successfully on their own.
Okay, person on the floor. Right.
Good morning, everyone. We believe that we, as the citizens of the world, we have the responsibility to support those countries which suffers from the poverty. With the help of aid, LEDCs, also known as less economically developed countries, will have the opportunity to improve the lives of people and also save themselves by their own effort. Being poor doesn't mean being ordinary. People have their inborn rights no matter where ones are born. And aid is one of the ways that can return the inborn rights to people who are born in destitute countries and also return the right of making decisions. Aid changes the world. Those essential changes have made the world much better than it was. It is a vital action that we must take. People might argue that, why do we have to spend money on those people we have never met before? We respond like this: yes, we don't know them, but don't you think they're the same? They have families, they have parents, they have their friends. They're just like us. So we must see them as individuals. And aid helps individuals if it is correctly used. Aid is a key to alleviate poverty. It is not about giving money, but also giving the opportunity that brings hope and also brings light to those poor people. Although the eradication of poverty cannot be done in recent days, but it is still worth a try, since it might be the solution that can solve the problem that plagues millions. Thank you.
Alright, guys. I'll open it up for about 5 minutes of question and answer. Anybody can ask. And again, if you haven't had a chance to ask or respond, this will be a chance to do that. Okay? Go ahead.
We were talking about the statistics, right? That they're bad. But how can you prove that statistics are saying the truth? How can you prove that the statistics are precise enough?
Just from the
Do you have it? Also, a good thing about aid that happened, about 5.6 million houses were built for people that didn't have a place to live since 1994.
Without monetary help, that wouldn't happen.
Yes, isn't that a positive thing?
Yeah, of course there will be some positive things, but it will also lead to like corruption if you didn't use that correctly, as Chris said. So it's like if you help them develop instead of giving them just money, it will be more ensure that they can develop successfully. Because if the possibility will increase.
Even though there's in developed countries, for example, Brazil, for example, is a developed country. Okay? But there's corruption everywhere. Even if the country has money or if the country doesn't have, it's going to be corruption. So it's not an excuse to say corruption and corruption. Corruption's everywhere. There's no. Also,
It
it's
doesn't
not
mean
only.
like you help them to lead to corruption.
There is corruption, but there is some corruption which are enormous corruption.
Everywhere is corruption.
I mean, and again, the truth, everywhere there's always corruption, but
It doesn't mean you can help those countries to.
Well, you said it will lead to corruption. How could it lead to corruption? And 19 years, there's 5.6 million households.
I said, like, there are some cases, maybe it's like success, but like there are also some cases it's not. So you're better to like just give them development instead of giving them money.
The United States is about the developments are not willing to give that because it's going to cost more money for them, so they're not willing to do that.
And you said there's going to be cases of corruption. Do you have the cases?
It costs more money.
Yeah, they're not willing to
But
do
you
that.
already spend lots of money.
That's
Then
nice.
if you
For a
you
long term.
You can help them faster and you can like reduce the amount of time. Then why you instead of like
Because
50
it's not
years
everyone's
give
concern.
them
It's
lots
not
of
everyone's concern. It's the developing countries' concern. They don't care. They just give in because they want.
That's why education is important.
So, what if you support them with the basic development? Will they be more dependent on what you gave them? Like, you gave them, you built the factories for them. Will they like they don't have the technology to build, let's say, factories?
So I just said like technology and also information.
So
For
you
them,
still have to.
education is important, and then like technology, those kind of things you give to them and help them to develop. Because anyway, you're gonna help them, and it's like money or like.
So what if you give them money, then they will develop themselves?
They not, you have to pay more like for a long time.
You think you're gonna eliminate a system of dependency, right? Okay, but the countries, the developing countries, they need some resources which they do not have. And once they get it, they can then grow as a country and then become self-sufficient over time.
Yeah, sources, not money.
But they can purchase the resources with the money. Yeah, exactly.
And then if the prices goes up, they have to like give them more money, and it's like vicious cycle.
Not once they become self-sufficient. They get the money and then they start trading with other countries because now they have money in their economy. So they can trade, they can export, import, and then they can get back on their feet and become self-sufficient.
But actually, the people don't know how to use this money efficiently. So people just spend money and get nothing.
How do you know they don't know how to use the money?
Because of the data shows that they don't have any development.
I even just said like thousands of houses were built. They know how to use
Millions
the
of
money.
houses were built. 5.6 million houses. And you said, so you don't want countries to send them money, but you want them to send them everything that helps them. That helps them, right?
Look, by doing that,
Not every.
look, if the developed countries are going to do all the work, okay, they're doing all the work, right? So you pay for that. But think, if you were the people there, you don't have a job, you don't have money.
But the factory.
Let me talk. If the work is done by the developing countries with the money sent from developed countries,
They learn
they learn more and there will be more work for them. Maybe they're going to construct a school. So the people from the developing countries, they're going to be working. You know, not the people from the developed countries. I already know.
People from the developed countries to the developing countries, there's less work for the natives.
No, I mean like help them to build, not just like I go there and I do my business.
Okay, if you
It's
have
not like that. It's I go help them to develop, and they can like build. It's like for example, a factory. It can create job opportunity, and like for those developing countries, like citizens in those countries, because I just spend like few people and like to be help them to develop like the structure, and they can work in the factory
But you saying you don't know where they're gonna spend the money. The money doesn't come from a place and on the people. No, the money is given to the government, and the government puts it in a place where they know how to spend it. Okay, there's corruption. The government of the developing countries. The developed countries are gonna give the money to the developing countries, government, and they will know how to spend it. There is corruption, I know. But if they gave, for example, 100 billion, nobody's gonna take 90 billion and give 10 billion to the people. If there's corruption, they're gonna do 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, and they take all of everything, you know. Still, there's gonna be help, and you said we should build for them. No, we should give them the money and they build so they learn, so they can develop. That's why.
They can develop, they can learn,
If
they can
you do everything for them, they're not gonna learn. But if the supervisors from the developed countries or the different do this, do that, do this, they will learn and then they will try to build other factories or farms with the minimum spend.
But that's education, that's not the financial thing.
No,
It's
the
also when you
financial.
give them money and they do it by themselves. Not
But if
that.
there is no supervisor, they can do it.
They can do it, they know how to do it, they're not stupid, like, they
And they
know
have
how to
money,
make factories, they just don't have the money to do them. So then the government's like, okay, here's $5, build a house, build a school, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna build a school, and then the people
And the
don't,
more
and
they
they,
build, the more they know. So the more they build houses, the more they're gonna know how to build more houses with the minimum spend. So like I said, they're building a house for $5. After 5, 10 years of building houses, they're gonna learn how to do they knew how to do a house for $5, now they're gonna know how to do a house for like $1. So they can do 5 houses with $5.
Okay, he said the irrigation of the problem is not possible in the future and now. But okay, there is help. There is some help. They built 5.6 million houses. Okay, but it's very low compared to the money that was spent to Africa. It's like
but it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
it's better than nothing, but it's just the irrigation of the problem is not possible. So what's the point of spending the money that is true? That 70% gets to the pocket of the corrupt leaders, and then like 30% gets to the.
You can't like coach statistics, you don't know if it's
I'm
10%.
saying it. I'm giving you an example. Just
Okay.
But if a trillion was invested from the 1950, so only 5.6 million houses, and that's all. Is that all?
No, that's not all.
That's not all, but that's the only thing we
Okay,
got.
I'm gonna give you guys a 1 minute warning just because you've been doing
That's
this
the most
session, we're
important.
almost at 10 minutes. left.
Basically, of course, the spend on
So
health.
if anyone hasn't asked a question,
Otherwise, Africa will be done. No people alive.
Yeah, if the money doesn't work, then nobody will be alive. The money is not doing something, if the money that's being sent to Africa is not having good results, everybody will be dead. And look, we can help them. We're not saying we want to not like get rid of poverty. We can help them. But poverty is a problem that nobody can solve. But we're trying to do our best to help. We're trying to pull them above the minimum wage, which is $1 per day. We're trying to pull them above that. That's it. We don't want them luxury lifestyle and stuff. No, we just want them to get the necessary thing. They'll still be poor, but then they're gonna be poor as before.
But as I said, that the financial aid actually increased their inflation, so their life is getting much harder because of it.
But you mentioned the South African inflation, and I don't think that's relevant because South Africa is not a developing country. I think it's pretty developed.
Yes, however, not developed. They have the World Cup, though.
Exactly. They have beautiful stadiums and they have really
They got
nice
World
economy, really
They're
good.
not developing, they're already developed.
So I don't think the example is relevant.
But there are still poverty in those countries.
There is poverty.
There's
I'll
poverty
stop you guys there. We
everywhere.
have a few minutes at the end. We can make some more closing comments. But let's go into our conclusions. Thank you very much for your participation.
Speaker.
So we've been talking here for quite some time, and we've still not really found an agreement to it. Well, I'd just like to restate our position for the closing of that debate. Okay, so 1 trillion poverty in Africa, and that is a huge amount of money. I mean, as from what we learned, we can see progress, but the progress is not big enough for the amount of money which was spent. Like, it's not even close to that. Of course, we can see improvements, but they're definitely not big enough. For example, a great example would be Ghana, which 90% of the country is living from aid, only donating money. So like, basically there's no incentive to work, nothing. I think that the dollars in different countries and other countries have to spend their resources to help Ghana maintain itself, which is, I would say, obscene that the country is not trying to do anything on their own to help their situation, and they're just relying on the help of the other countries. So this is another thing. Another thing, I have to say, there's poverty all around the world, even in your country, even in the country you live right now, and you don't realize that we only think about Africa because it's so blown out in the media, and you only see pictures of the dying kids in Africa and all those countries, but also there's kids that die from hunger in your countries as well, for sure. There's a small number of that, but it should be taken care of in the first place, since it's your motherland, and you want to help your people the most. As well, giving, like, sending the money to Africa might work if there would be a better management of the money which is spent over there. We feel, while just giving money to the government, as we said, there is a lot of corruption in this country. It's not like an ordinary normal country. Of course, there's corruption everywhere, we know that. But those countries, it's to the point that it's just uncontrollable. So I think there should be just better management of the money, how it's going to be spent. To conclude my speech, I don't know, I think that right now we don't have a solution to that issue, and that people should sit down and think about it and find better solutions for the problem. Because right now, I think we're not helping almost in any way, and definitely not enough fast enough pace to help. So, yes, thank you.
Smir. Yeah. In the article, she says 1 trillion have given aid to Africans. 50 or 50 years?
50 years.
50?
50, 50.
50. Good morning, everybody. And I would like to start my argument by talking what Peter just said. You said 1 trillion have been spent on Africa, which is a huge amount. That's true, but you haven't said in how many years. It has been spent in 50 years, which is not a huge amount for helping the whole continent. And also, as other members of the group referred, as South Africa being a developing country, and poverty there, and corruption is there everywhere. There's poverty, there's corruption. In the most rich countries in the world and the most poor countries in the world, there is poverty, there is corruption. And I don't think nobody or anyone is going to solve the problem of poverty, but the argument that we are making is to help them for a better life. Even if we don't help them all, even if we help a small minority, at least we can say we help them. And also, you have an argument saying that we have to give them, we cannot give them money, we have to give them like help and stuff, but the help will come from the money. The help will not just create itself. The help, or like medical kits, medications, food, they need money. So, I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say after what all of you guys said, but I'm just referring to these people need our help, and we have to help them by any means necessary, even if we spend 5% of our annual income to help those people, because in the end we're all one and we're all equal. And also there's another quote that said, from what I said and from what Natalia said, that we have to give them an income, we have to build them a farm, a factory. There's a quote that says, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. That's what we were saying. That's what you think we are saying. To give them this money and just leave them alone, come back after 2 years, give them more money. No, we're saying teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. We're teaching them how to build. We're teaching them how to produce. So after, I don't know, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, they won't need our help anymore.
Just teaching that.
Hmm?
Just teaching that.
Hmm?
Just develop countries.
They teach themselves. And if you're gonna give them money, go ahead, give them money. It's also good. But if you can give them an income, if you can give them something so they can build, it will be much better for you and for them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Mr. Ayub. I think this question will continue to be something that leaders, political leaders, business leaders will have to continue to explore. There's a lot of poverty in the world. Even if extreme poverty has been reduced, there is still poverty. And if you have a chance and you aren't doing anything else important, like this weekend with college applications that are homework, then that video that I posted called BBC Debate Poverty, it's filmed in South Africa, in Durban, and it features leaders from Nigeria, the former Prime Minister Tony Blair from the UK, a poverty advocate